watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am John. My co-host is Andy. And this week we are talking Survivor 47, Episode 3. And, you know, Andy, a lot of times I like to just go out into the world. I like to talk to the people on the street, if you will, except they're on the internet. So I went and I talked to some other podcasts, right? And, you know, I got to tell you, they all kind of think we're a couple. So
fair.
Yeah. just so you know that's what we're dealing with in the podcast world out there.
Wait,
like,
don't they know that we are coupled with other people?
I mean, that's just the vibe they got, Andy. That's all I can tell you is that they were pretty sure we were a couple.
I get to be the groom.
So let's talk about this week's episode. First of all, how did you like this one?
Oh, see, you know, I left that out of the breakdown for a reason.
Oh, no.
But curse you and your investigative journalism spirit. Because I was trying to avoid just saying, yeah, it's the same as it's been. You know, it's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm still not really excited about anybody, but, you know, I didn't terribly bother me, you know, and now we're going to get heat for calling it mid. But, yeah, it's fine, you know. A little less interesting than last week, but
you think less? I think it was just right in line.
Well, last week it was a lot of fun seeing TK get hoisted by his own petard. This week I was kind of indifferent, so you know.
Yeah.
How about you? What
you
did
didn't enjoy seeing Rome doing, you know, whatever it is that Rome does?
I mean, even there, we'll get through the route, but you know, he didn't dive into a well.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he did set the bar pretty high in that opening episode because that was some good comedy.
Yeah, but like it was another episode of a mix of characters that range from like replacement level to kind of dislike them. So, you know, I mean, again, there's still time, all that, but you know, when people get mad for me and not, you know, being enthusiastic one way or another, it's like, man, sometimes things are just average. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
For me.
I love when we get the criticism that like, oh, well, if you hate the show so much, why do you podcast about it? Like, we clearly don't. If we did, we wouldn't podcast about it. It's bizarre to think that there's, you know, people out there that believe that you can just never say anything negative ever about something that you like. Like, why does that make sense at all?
Yeah, but I think it's even worse when like the reaction that we get, or at least I get, when I am neither negative nor positive. I think actually people often respond to the negative because it can be fun, right? Be funny, that sort of thing. And frankly, like I think in terms of places to talk about this show, we run a lot less negative than other places, simply because I know for me, and I think I could speak for you, I made the decision. It's like, well, if we're actually that negative on the show, how about we just stop, right? You know, we don't have to do this. There's actually no like genuine benefit for us doing this other than our own enjoyment. But yeah, it's more like when I'm just like, it was all right. Then people are like, how dare you? Well, maybe that's just a modern thing that like nothing, like the mid is the like the worst insult for anything. But it's like, I mean, it's just mid.
That's fair. There are certainly players that have been on this show that they're just relative mehness just enraged me. So, you know, I get people being then enraged that we would have a meh attitude towards the show. But like you mentioned, the show has been bad at times to the point that we've been like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But we do keep doing this because the show's not actually bad. Like a okay episode of Survivor is still pretty good TV, and we enjoy watching it.
And actually, I think it's kind of there's a different perspective you're going to get here than other places in the fan community, that we can watch an episode like this and be like, it didn't really arouse any passions. Because like if you go to Survivor Twitter, which you don't, and that's good. I do a bit because I steal images off of Survivor Twitter for our website, which I don't feel bad about because those people are also stealing images without permission. They just watch it with software that allows them to screenshot, and I don't. This was the red wedding for these folks. This was really tough stuff for them.
Yeah, I think so. That's what confused me, is because, a question that you wrote down for me was I bothered by the outcome of this episode? And I was like, should I be? Is this a thing?
Look, there's been 3 episodes. It's possible you formed attachments to the person that was voted out.
No, and I should clarify. Like, I do not know of Aysha from Survivor podcasting. Just as it's not some dig. Like, I'm assuming Aysha doesn't know me or Andy. Like,
very confident on that.
Right, exactly. Like, who gives a shit? Andy and I do not attend some Survivor podcast con where all the fucking Survivor podcasts meet up. That's just like, we don't generally interact with other Survivor podcasts or listen to them. And yeah, I don't have any predisposition towards Aysha. Like, she's not a built-in rooting interest because she's a Survivor podcaster. I don't really care.
Nor were we rooting against her out of some kind of jealousy or anything, despite what the Apple comments might lead you to believe.
That's only for Stephen Fishback that we're jealous.
Yeah, like, I had genuinely never heard of this person until, she hit the beach. But I honestly, not even at that moment, until she kind of introduced herself at some point in the episode, and was completely unaware that she was a podcaster until Teeny brought it up. And actually, like, this is one thing that maybe people in comments can help me out with. Where does she fit in the RHAP podcasting batting order? Because, like, I've heard of some of the people that do shows, obviously, like Rob and Steven, but like, I think Jessica Lewis has one with like a guy, David Bloomberg.
Does she still do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know like Tyson used to, but I think, he's got his own thing on the Ringer now. But it's like, she's clearly not like the John and Andy of RHAP. But like,
well, I don't know if that's a compliment or a dig.
Well, I'm talking like just in terms of, priority. Like, is she the Emily Matt? Is she the Mark? Like, I don't understand, like, how many, because there are people with strong attachments, and I'm like, how many shows are there? Because it doesn't, like, Mike Bloom, that's a name that I've heard of. Like, I've heard of a fair amount of people in that sphere. In part, I follow them on X, I guess is what they call it. I used to listen generally only to like the know-it-alls section, or sometimes like the 2.5 hour one. That's just Rob and like some, again, I stopped years ago. No knock on the show. I just found that my podcasting was made worse by like first hearing like 4 hours of podcasting before I got to talk about it.
And we're already starting at such a low point. You don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. So I really
the barrel.
It. And then also I found my enjoyment of Survivor plummeted the more like extra Survivor content I was taking in.
Yes.
But yeah, that's just the one curiosity that I have, because again, like Teeny knew who she was. All over Twitter, people are really freaked out, like, or not really, but there's a lot of people upset, which is fine. You're allowed to have your favorites. There's even people on our site that are like, "Oh man," and I'm like, "So like, is she like a big deal?"
Mm-hmm.
Like. And then also, like, how many Survivor podcasts are you listening to? Like, again, maybe she's got, like, the second biggest, or third, probably. I feel like Rob probably still does, too. I don't know. I'm just curious about that. Not related to this episode. So for me, someone coming in cold, she seemed fine. But honestly, not a huge impression either way, right? The first episode, she's separated from her tribe for most of the time because she had to go on the scavenger hunt, where she made, whatever impression, neither good nor bad. Seemed like somebody I'll see some more of them. Last episode, they didn't really show much of Lavo at all. And then this episode was, kind of whatever. So for me, it's like, yeah. I definitely, like, if I was choosing somebody to leave that tribe, she wouldn't have been my first pick. But as the episode was going on and it really started to seem like it was going to be her or Soul, I actually kind of wanted Soul to stick around more. So I actually was kind of fine by the outcome.
Okay, so just because I know we're going to get comments. Saul?
Is it? Damn it. That's not my... See, let's get into that real quick. People are always like, oh, you mispronounced their names. And look, to be fair, they say the names on the show.
Yep.
And frankly, I don't know how much I should trust you, John, about
That's
this.
a good point. I mean, I said it with a question mark. I don't know. I'm just going to start just spelling names. So
you screwed up Tyler Hero. Like, the name is Hero.
Look, that was the worst too. And I explained how it happened too. I had my notes of like, I didn't want to forget my list, right? So I have my list. It was written down and I just did the fucking Anchorman thing and read it right off the page. Like, just go fuck yourself, San Diego. Just read it as it was written. I should have phonetically written Hero.
Kind of is. It's H-E-R-R. Like, that extra R doesn't turn an E sound into an A, does it?
No, it's the Hero.
You were saying Arrow.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's Hero.
Okay.
Anyway.
You said it like, and I'm like, wait. My whole life I thought it was Hero.
Again,
like, oh, damn it is Hero.
So confidently, right? Like, just plowed right through it. Because again, just reading off of my script that like I'd written down, like, oh shit, I gotta remember to talk about my top 3 NBA things. And I know me, I will forget them. So I write them down. And yeah, I've done that before too with people's names.
Oh yeah, but that's how it works with us in the names. Sometimes like we weren't even planning on talking about that person, and then whatever, you know,
extemporaneously.
That's it.
That's the one.
See, I can't say that word either. Even if I was reading it right now, I'd probably screw it up. And then it's like, oh, and then I have like the cast list in front of me, and then and look, like SOL in my mind is Soul.
Sure, like the sun.
Like the sun,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Saul is like AU. But again, I understand people are free to spell things in different ways, especially like, my interpretation of things is, North American, Anglo-Saxon or whatever. But yeah, man, sometimes you're just like, you kind of weren't thinking about it in that moment, and then you read it. And then what ends up happening is it sticks. And then you keep screwing up. And each time it's like, wait, I said it wrong last time, but was I saying it this way or that way? And it becomes a thing. And you just have to hope they get voted out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened with Sabia?
I still don't know. I think it's Sabia, but it totally could be Sabia.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to Aysha, whose name we do know how to pronounce. I agree with you. Definitely not bad casting, at least. There have been times when Survivor's had bad casting. She seemed fine. She might have gone on to become more entertaining. But regardless, there was no point where I was like, how did this person get cast on the show? And I say that about people fairly frequently on this show. She didn't make that cut for me.
No.
So yeah, I don't have some attachment where I'm like, oh no, I can't believe Aysha got voted out. But so what's the consensus on like why we are bothered? Is it just because Aysha's a fan favorite and I should thus be enraged?
Yeah, it's the parasocial relationships that people have formed with her.
Sure,
Or
okay.
other gig. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I can't figure that anybody would be genuinely upset based solely on the person they've met through this TV show.
Well, and also I think, people, I understand the whole parasocial relationship thing. And I just want you all listening to know that when I go on Survivor, I expect this same fucking treatment.
That's right.
You better say, John was robbed. I mean, they voted him out first because he was lazy and lost in the challenge and was generally worthless and rubbed people the wrong way. But, he didn't deserve that. So, I expect you all to get my back, just so you know.
I mean, we'll never know for so many reasons. Primary among them, we don't apply to be on this show.
Correct.
Secondly, well, that's enough right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that covers it.
We would never be cast because we're not interesting or, made for TV. We're also at this point like geriatric in terms of Survivor ideas, and what they think that like casting should be. But yeah, I do wonder if somehow we were on the show, it'd have to be, recruitment and then like even then, like some arm twisting, because I'd be like, no, I'm good. I genuinely have no desire to be on this show. Like that was a thought and ambition when I was a younger man, back when it was not possible for me. But now, no, like I don't even like sleeping in hotel beds. Like I often like have to book a massage from when I get back because I know like a bed will mess me up that isn't mine.
You see,
Fuck
and
the bamboo.
that's the nice thing. We can just acknowledge that we're not going on Survivor because we're fucking princesses. That's what it is.
It's just washed, you know? I'm like, I'm worse with people now than I used to be, you know? It's like, because I'm deeply uninterested in them. I don't even remember where I was going.
I don't either.
No, here's what I was thinking. It's like, so if we were to be on the show, like, would our audience, which I'm guessing is dwarfed by Aysha's, probably. Again, I'm it's really struggling to understand like how like among like what 200 podcasters or however many, how many does he have? I don't know. How many shows a week do they run? About one show. But yeah, would people be, you know, rendering of garments and like, oh God, this sucks. Oh, I feel so bad. My friend is gone. My friend Andy, my friend John. Or would they laugh at us? Because like, that's kind of the environment and culture that we've, you know, I feel like there'd be at least, there'd definitely be people in the latter group, right?
They're better. Like, I would genuinely be mad. And you know this to be true about me. Like, I would get uncomfortable with like compliments and praise. But if you made fun of me, I'd be like, yes, this is the stuff. That's what I came for.
And maybe a bit of both. Like people are like, hey, they were genuinely hoping that the people that they've spent this time listening to, that, you know, clearly, like I'm hoping the people that listen to us enjoy doing so. Like there's no obligation here, folks, as many people who have stopped listening to us will have shown, you know, that, but like, so they'd be a little upset, but they'd know that the way to pay tribute would be to, you know, just totally light us up.
Right.
In our terrible gameplay. And I also wondered, like, what kind of Survivor podcaster is she? Like, does she do, like, what does she cover?
Probably there's an angle, right? I feel like that's
There's
what,
gotta
you know,
be, right?
The main one is him and Steven talking, but then like, I think all the little extras have some angle that they go at. And so I don't know what hers would be.
Again, there's probably a way to find out, but the only way is people are going to make, I'm not going to listen.
I'll forward this to the research department at Purple Rock Podcast. Hey, let's talk about the episode again, because there was a choice made by Teeny in this one, right? I think the episode indicated to us that if not Teeny alone, Teeny was at least a central decision maker in how this vote was going to go. I feel like Teeny made the right choice.
Her eyes. We don't really see it through Kashan's. Yeah, I think it's a fine choice. I think that like a lot of people, you know, that aren't up in arms in this are like, oh man, she really screwed that up. And it's like, well, maybe. Like I'm not saying that perspective is invalid, but like I think it's pretty clear and obvious that their analysis of the move is heavily tainted in what their wishes are. And look, man, I do that all the time. So, you know, play on, player. But yeah, like for one, Rome wasn't going anywhere. She knows that. They know, like Teeny knows that. And like it feels like Aysha should have known that too, because like we get it from Aysha. I believe it was Aysha, not Saul, that like he stopped looking for idols, so he probably has something, right? Like I feel like it was now they don't know that this is a one-time use idol. Teeny does, so it's like, you know, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So at the very least, you're stuck with him as an ally short term. So it makes sense to kind of just go along with him because you're not going to get rid of him. And then in this episode, he gets something a little more that could potentially, you know, make any kind of counter move against Rome that much more difficult. So it's like with all that, yeah, sure. Like, I don't know if it's worth sticking your neck out. Teeny did try to put it on to Saul instead of Aysha, and then Aysha kind of put a monkey wrench into those plans, at which point I could see him Teeny being like, yeah, I think it's just got to be Aysha.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, I think the argument that I've seen is like, oh, why didn't they get rid of Genevieve instead? And it's just like, Genevieve is an absolute blank slate. And I should do a quick aside here to note that Genevieve is the secret Canadian.
Yes.
Which perfect, because she looks like great value Alanis. which is the only way that I'm going to remember her from now on. We know
For me,
nothing.
she looks like the waitress from Schitt's Creek. Like, I swear, like the first
Oh.
time we saw her in the premiere, I was like, oh no, I think she's probably the Canadian. My wife and I both said it out loud. And Genevieve, it's like a French name, you know? But then I completely forgot she existed by the
Duh.
next day when we were making our picks.
Perfect. Wow, that's a very John move of you.
Sorry.
But yeah, the whole point is we don't know her allies, her motivations. We know nothing about Genevieve. Genevieve might be in super tight with Teeny and with Kashan. Like we don't know. So should they have pushed to get rid of her instead? Who fucking knows? We don't know how they feel about Genevieve.
Yeah, like if we're looking at like Teeny's potential allies here, what have we seen? What do we know? Obviously, tons we don't. And I'm trying to remember from the premiere when Teeny was initially forming alliances and she picked Kashan and then they were forming a group. I feel like Genevieve was part of that group. And then Teeny's like, well, let's wait and see about Aysha because Aysha wasn't there at that time before they solidified what the 4 was. I mean, there's limited options, so I feel like it would almost have to be, but somebody else can report back. Clearly, I didn't remember Genevieve after that point, so
yeah,
and then she was completely invisible in the second episode.
Pretty damning. There was, it almost has to be Genevieve, and yet we're still like, but was it?
Yeah,
that's how much Genevieve is registering.
But yeah, so what we get is we have Rome telling Teeny everything. To the point where, like, it confused Teeny last episode when it happened, right? It's like, oh, you're choosing to share this with me. I genuinely didn't think we were that close. He gets the advantage. He tells Teeny. So Teeny has that like, this guy is telling me stuff. Meanwhile, when they try to work with Aysha, Aysha's like, yeah, but no, we gotta just get, like, no flexibility. Yeah. When Teeny is trying to say, like, it's have to be soul. And now I don't know that Teeny ever comes straight out and says, or it's going to be you.
Right.
But her intractability and all of that, it's like, well, like I've already Teeny's flipped Rome to Saul. Like, it's shown that like she can get information from him and get him to do what she wants. Whereas I don't know what information she's getting from Aysha or not. It's clear that Aysha has some kind of, bond with Saul, whether that's, primary or secondary to the relationship with Teeny. Don't know. So it's like, if you're just kind of judging based on that, are we sure that Aysha's actually a better ally than Rome? Or is it just that like that feels like it would be a better ally for us watchers?
Also, quick reminder, Teeny is a they.
Correct.
Yeah. Also,
I've caught myself on that at least.
One thing,
I must have missed it.
One thing that you left out of that is not only did Rome come and tell everything to Teeny, like Teeny got caught red-handed by Rome sharing something that like he had shared. Like the idol thing was just something that he told Teeny, and he walks up and it's not just Teeny looking at the idol thing, and like Teeny talks her way out of this, and is still somehow Rome's number one. Contrast that with Aysha's like inflexibility. Like yes, you're right. There was not some explicit like it's you or it's all, but I think that Teeny was intentionally not laying it on too thick, just trying to drop the hint. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, is Rome great to hang out with and fun? Not necessarily, but he might be the better ally at this point.
Yeah, and I'm only going to say might because, like, he also is a bit of a wild card. Like, there's certainly a world in which he tanks Teeny's game or any person who tries to ally with him. But, like, as of right now, unconventional, but seems like a working relationship you could go. Certainly does not seem like somebody who's going to outsmart you in the way that, I think you rightly could fear from Aysha, particularly if you're like her number one fan on the island, So yeah, man, I can't fault it. And there was certainly a way, right? They could have just taken out Genevieve and not worried about Rome's idol. that risks the idea that Rome would play the idol for Genevieve. Here's a note on that. We actually don't hear Rome suggest that as a possibility at all.
Nope.
We hear Teeny say that to Aysha. I think there's a chance that Teeny was making that up to just take that plan off the board.
I think so too.
Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure that was the argument, is like, hey, let's protect you by doing this vote. And again, it was, not laid on too thick, but Aysha was definitely not willing to consider the plan.
Yeah. And that was kind of also probably a thought, like, I wouldn't mind decoupling Aysha with Saul. Like, because that's the thing, a lot of people in comments, it's like, well, now you're going to leave, Genevieve, Rome to have Genevieve. That's dangerous. It's like, okay, well, what's Saul to Aysha, right? Like, if the whole thing is trying to decouple people, again, I think the Aysha Saul pairing is more threatening than the Genevieve Rome one, especially because Rome's telling you everything. So, but again, there would have been a way, even if you're worried about him playing the idol on one or the other, you do the vote split, which is almost certainly what they agreed with Aysha and Saul was what happening, which is why there were so many different votes cast. Saul votes for Rome, Aysha votes for Genevieve, and then 3 of them vote for Aysha, and Teeny doesn't. She votes for Saul. I'm probably just from a, I wasn't going to write your name down type scenario. Like, I don't think there is anything more than that. So yeah, it's possible, but then you also have the steal a vote as this thing. Because if you come up with this whole split vote plan to circumvent this idol that is going to be played, and, shout out to all the live commenters who were talking like Rome's elimination was a possibility. No. I feel like he was going to play a one-time use only idol. I can give the guy enough credit there.
Yep.
But yeah, you do all that, and then he steals Saul's vote, and now it all screws up anyway. So it's like, that's like a lot of what ifs, all to protect somebody that might not even be better for your game anyway.
Let's talk a little bit about Rome, because I think the thing that I like about him is that the people on TV have to deal with him and not me. I thoroughly enjoyed him claiming that TK was arrogant and obnoxious.
Oh my God.
It was like, chef's kiss. Absolutely.
He just met this man.
It's so good. Like,
he hasn't said anything to Kyle, and he's just like, I hope it's TK. Like, you don't know. It would have been hilarious if Kyle was like, yeah, TK was my boy. Like, that was my main ally. But no, just right away saying that. And then, of course, even better that it's like pot calling kettle.
Yep. It was perfect. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that moment. Also, a big fan of him being convinced he was such a great liar. And he, like, Saul doesn't believe his shit, and then later tells Rome to his face, like, basically, I don't believe your shit. And Rome just locks up, just doesn't know how to react to that. Like, tries to cover up and probably thinks like, yeah, I nailed that.
Well, even better, because we get the confessional prior to seeing that scene, but obviously shot after that scene where Rome is just like, oh man, I got them all laid out. Everybody's believing me. And then, we get the scene where it's like, not even just like, I don't believe you, but like, well, what if you were lying, you'd be like that. And then Rome's just like, oh, but nah. It was just, that's why I preferred Saul to stay to Aysha, because I actually like the way that Saul's handling Rome more than I liked the petty bickering between Aysha and Rome, even though within the petty bickering I was on Aysha's side.
Sure.
Like, man got fish guts on her while eating in front of her, like, but the Saul, like, how he's trying to, like, deal with him like a toddler prior to the challenge. Like, that's more of a dynamic that I'm interested to see keep going, because I also would not want to deal with Rome at all. He actually annoys me. I'll be fine anytime he gets voted out, but there's still also quite a bit of comedy to be mined by his continued pseudo success in the game. Like, he's not playing well at all, but he's getting enough of these positive affirmations, some of it completely by fluke, that you understand why he's convinced that he's playing well.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you were watching an NBA game and someone was just taking dumb shots and they like the bad team takes an early lead because some dumb shots start falling and you're like, what this doesn't even make sense. I mean, eventually it's going to get straightened out, right? Like, I don't think Rome is suddenly a great Survivor player at some point. Like, it's just he's going to regress to the mean where he should be, and then it's over.
No, I mean, basically, he randomly found a couple things. That's kind of like if he hadn't found those things, I'm very convinced he would no longer be on Survivor, which just kind of gets into some of the idea that people were, I mean, the main reason why people are all like, oh no, Aysha got screwed is because of blatant favoritism, which, respect, it's fine. Just don't pretend it's otherwise. Or, if you do, it's fine. Don't do it in comments on my website. That's all. You could do it on your own posting. You're welcome to it. I'm mostly just a visitor in those spaces. But yeah, it's unfortunate for her that the guy that everybody would unite around voting out could not be voted out.
And I think,
however,
we should note too that, I mean, from what we saw, I think it was made very clear that like Aysha was keeping him on the outs in a way that was pretty obvious.
It was obvious to him.
Right.
That's why when he goes on this journey, he sells them out right away. Like he knows that Aysha is no fan of Rome and Rome is no fan of Aysha. I feel like there's like a Julius Caesar joke in there somewhere. I don't know. Anyway. If we want to talk about what she did wrong besides not finding an idol, and actually pin in that because I want to talk about it real quick. But yeah, man, like you completely ostracize somebody who you yourself have legitimate reason to consider might not be able to be voted out. And it's like, man, it's tough because the guy seems incredibly annoying. But Deanie's found a way, Genevieve's found a way, Keyshawn's found a way. You just can't do that. You can't just isolate one person as bad Survivor play to isolate any people, much less somebody who has a potentially dangerous trinket, So that's a misstep. About the dangerous trinket, obviously some of that's random, but I did even comment in the very first, like the premiere episode. Isn't it weird that this whole tribe is acting like his idol hunt is some kind of affront to Survivor decency? It was funny that he's falling in a well while the 5 of them are hanging out looking for him. It seemed like a weirdly old school choice, and people were praising Aysha. It was like, look at how she's putting the target on him, like Mr. Big player or whatever she was calling him. It's like, what? Why aren't you guys looking for an idol? Maybe they absolutely were, right? They generally just show either successful idol finds or, ironically funny, failure to find idols. But like the attitude they were all getting is like, oh man, he's got to be on the outs because he's looking for idols. It's like, but why aren't you guys trying to find idols though? Because if he finds one, you're kind of screwed. And lo and behold, right? So there's that. And then, there was her intractability with Teenie. The fact that everybody kind of clocked that it was her and Saul. The fact that, Genevieve, Keyshawn, and Teenie didn't be like, yeah, let's team up, Aysha. So I feel like in the level of people getting screwed, I don't know that she rates at all.
And you mentioned, by the way, that journey and how Rome immediately, when he gets there, just starts talking, as he does, of course. Apart from that, what did you think about the journey for this episode?
Yeah, it sucks. Just, for one, it's there's not a lot of entertainment to be found in watching people pull things out of bags. I feel, maybe if it was on TikTok or something, people would get a lot of views because they'll just watch anything. This is my second old man rant about that app. I'm fucking proud of myself. Yeah. But yeah, the value that these journeys used to have was in the journey, right? It's the walking, the getting to know each other, that part. Now they speed run through that, and I was kind of surprised, man, they're all just talking. Obviously Rome the most, but Anika was saying a bunch of stuff. That was the most I'd heard Kyle speak at that point. And again, they hadn't been there that long. It wasn't like the trek up the hill. But yeah, and then when we get there, it's just forcing them to do it, and there's a penalty if you fail. Just fucking sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's not exciting TV to watch people grab stuff out of a bag. And there's not really a drama in any drama in the decision.
Because there's no decision. I mean,
Right. I mean, I
eventually
guess,
one.
yeah, right. The only decision would be, you lose your vote. Do you want to take a second shot? Which in this case, the people who did lose their vote, like I think for at least Kyle, like he was definitely correct not to try again. Because I think if he gets Gabe out in this next vote by some, thing shifting and somehow it works out and he can get Gabe gone, he'll probably need his vote in the following tribal. So way too risky to try to do 2 straight votes of no tribal or
Why'd
no
you
vote.
pick Gabe there, by the way? Because I have no indication that he's trying to get Gabe out.
And from this episode,
No, he was trying to get Tiana out based on Gabe's input.
he went and talked to Sue and Caroline, and he said that Gabe is viewing you as goats.
Touché. Yes, that's accurate.
Look at me remembering things. You should be
Fair.
ashamed of yourself, sir. All right, and so then I think for him made sense. Like, don't risk trying it again. And then Anika, probably also a good idea to get her vote back as quickly as possible. She, I think, might be screwed regardless. And then naturally, of course, just Rome gets the advantage right away. Couldn't have scripted it better.
Very funny. I'm deeply ashamed because no, he actually poo-pooed the idea of voting, getting away after Tiana. He's loyal to her, even though she wasn't loyal to him at all in the most previous vote. Yeah, no, you were right on that one. Jeez. No matter what the AI bots say, sometimes you are the analytical.
well, let's talk quickly then about
But just like about the voting, like, or the losing their vote. And like, I get like Survivor's really just on this, like, everything has consequences and there's danger around the corner. And like, I understand the idea of like, we want to create potential negative outcomes to these things. And some of it could even, I mean, mostly it seems to just be an ethos. You got to earn it or whatever. But like, I know prior to the new era, people would complain that there's too many advantages. They're too powerful. There too many people have them. They affect the game too much. So like, nerfing them a bit by you could potentially lose something in the pursuit of them. That seems like a fix. And the problem, because I know people really dislike always stripping people of votes, and I'm not a huge fan of it either, is what else are you going to take from these people, right? Like that's kind of, the vote is all they have. We didn't hang on to the fire tokens. So it's like, I don't know what other punishment. It'd be kind of interesting maybe if they could throw some punishments like, hey, before the next immunity challenge, you have to do this task while the rest of your tribe is doing something. But other than that, like vote's the only thing. But for this, it's like, it works to a degree that it works when it's a choice. When it's like, you can potentially win this thing, but to play, you have to put your vote at risk. But that's not what this is. It's just like, you might pull the whammy card. And it's like, okay. Oh,
right. And I guess
do it for us.
The only degree of choice there would be choosing to go on the journey in the first place. Yes. But I mean, even that, they know as well as we do, a lot of times that's rock, paper, scissors. That's not, it'll be me, I'll do it. In this case, we did have one of those, but it's not always like that.
And then it's like, we're talking about like what's good for us. That, randomly pulling bag things out of a bag, not good for us. But like, I feel like 2 people not having a vote is more likely to harm our entertainment than one person getting a steal a vote will enhance our entertainment.
Correct.
And it's possible that like it has no effect either way. Like there's a good chance, like if Gada goes to tribal council again, Anika's vote isn't really going to be material. Either she's getting voted out by a majority of vote, whether she can votes or not, or Andy's getting voted out by a majority, whether she votes or not. As of right now, like if they had gone this episode, obviously there's time for things to shift. But of course, the longer in the game she's at, then it'll be a big thing. And with Kyle, him not having a vote could lead to him being voted out, right? Like if, Gabe's trying to use him to go after Tiana, or he somehow gets Sue and Carolyn to listen to him, but now like they'll all be like, well, you're not useful to us. So maybe it should just be you, and then we can keep it moving, right? So it's like, you're detracting from our entertainment value, not adding to it.
Well, let's go back to the Sue and Kyle thing because A, I remembered it correctly, and I feel like we should do that. And B, we kind of like start off the episode with this, right? Like it's the confrontation where Sue is just upset, like, oh, how dare he was gonna vote me out. Like, I mean, he had to vote for someone. That's the rules.
Yeah. Had you like worked out a plan with Kyle to vote? Is this some sense of betrayal? Because I feel like you didn't.
Right. I just also like just the vengeance is like, but Kyle seems like, from what we get of Kyle, like the most laid back motherfucker. He went along with this plan that TK had to vote out Sue.
And he thought was the majority plan. It wasn't his plan.
And now it's like Sue's got a blood feud. We're like, where did this come from?
Yeah, he seems actually like the nicest guy. Not just chill, like he seems like a genuinely nice guy, like in a way that might be, uninteresting for Survivor. I liked him in this episode, though. I even saw a secret scene today, almost by accident. Like, last week he was out hunting crabs to provide for everybody, but he's a deep vegetarian. It was like the first time he'd eaten meat, and he felt bad for, like, he's just a sweet guy. And Sue's just like, he's after me. You come for me, you're dead. And it's like, it was kind of the one, like, it was, I'm glad that TK got voted out. It was just a perfect story of the whole deal. But, like, it wasn't that I was that excited that Sue won. Like, already I could tell that I didn't really like her. And then the way she is this episode, yeah, it was nice that the idiot tries to talk to us, but he's dead to me. I'll never do anything. It's like, okay, settle down, lady.
Right.
Like, you should hear him out. I love how he was like, okay, well, we don't need to talk about this anymore. I'm sorry I brought it up.
I mean, if I didn't already know, I'd be like, Canadian? But no.
Definitely not.
No. Also, yeah, he does have kind of like that Ronald from Jury Duty vibe to him, right? There's just a little bit of that to him.
So it's kind of this funny thing where she thinks she's built up this big enemy. It's like, you should just settle down. Like, I'm sure you went into this game recognizing, and I feel like she gave confessionals to that fact that as the older lady, she could be in peril at early votes. Like, it really, I understand why it's kind of personal for you, but it wasn't personal, and you won. So, settle down is all I'm saying. So, I don't know. I don't really like her.
Yeah. On the other tribe, though, Andy, Andy. Yeah. So he's trying to make some inroads, which good for him, right? Like, he feels like he's got something going with Sam, but that's not enough because you need to have another working alliance partner. And so he naturally is like, well, Sam likes Sierra, ergo, I could become like Sierra's buddy / alliance partner. And his plan to do this, like, oh, I will get Sierra's trust, is like, I do want my shot in the dark. What was your reaction to that?
I honestly didn't hate it.
I think he says it so instantly and effortlessly that it just made him seem very non-threatening. Like,
yeah,
I mean, kind of in a bad way, because it's going to make him seem not very smart, but not seeming smart at this point, probably fine, because you just need to stay alive. And like, I think it worked, right? I think it was endearing to her in some way that he just like did the puppy dog move, like, I'll do anything for you. Here, you want my shot in the dark? And yeah, like, I think it was successful. And, you can only play the type of game that you are equipped to play. That does seem in line with the type of game that he's probably equipped to play.
Yeah. And like, if he's trying to convince, or at least, keep the idea open while they consider it, of Sam and Sierra voting with him at the next tribal council to vote out Anika. One reason why they might not go for that is like, well, if you play your shot in the dark, now we don't have the votes. And I can't trust that, so I'm just going to not do that and vote you out. So this takes that off the board. It's like, no, look, I will be voting the way you tell me to. I will be voting. You will guarantee that I am not able to not to play this thing and thus not vote. Now, look, you could argue that he should just play the shot in the dark, but I honestly think, like, in the tribe this size and all that, his odds of getting Sam and Sierra to vote Anika are higher than the 1 in 6 chance of the shot in the dark. So I think there's actually value in just like really securing it with Sierra. It's like, if you're on the fence, I'll be voting. So, obviously if you blindside me, you blindside me. But like, I think it's a better long-term play. Like, I don't hate it from like the position he's in. And I agree, because he's completely guileless. I think that helped also, that it's like, well, yeah, if we're thinking of keeping him around as a goat, as a whatever, seems accurate to me, like the way he's acting. So like, is it a long-term winning strategy? No, but I don't think Andy has those.
Well, I do think, and I will give him credit for this, like he did astutely say, like he's trying to pick up on how people are interacting with each other. And he's like, not that, this requires a whole lot of observational skill, but he did notice there's some tension between Anika and Sam. And, we saw more than one instance of them having less than pleasant interactions. Do you think like that's legit? Like Sam would genuinely be like, yeah, I can be Anika first or next,
sure.
I guess.
I mean, tried and true reason to vote somebody out in Survivor is because they're annoying you in the moment. And yeah, it was written all over his face, even though like most of his face was just like 100-yard blank stare. Like he wasn't feeling it. And, she wasn't feeling him. So yeah, man, if I'm like Andy and I'm seeing that, I'm like, hey, there's a chance, like this could be real. Like, I don't know that you need to be that perceptive to the point.
Well, and I think Anika kind of helped that along a bit too, because, and you know what, I would also say that I was kind of impressed with this. Like she says in front of the entire group that everyone sees Sam and Sierra as a pair. Like I think that was, but A, it was true, and B, useful seed to plant. I mean, ultimately, you're not going to flip Andy on that, I don't think. But still, nice to have that around because, let's just say at some point it's getting to the vote and maybe she goes and says to Sierra, like, hey, you don't want to get to the merge and have people thinking like you and Sam are a duo. Like we got to cut bait right now with him. And maybe it happens.
Or at the very least, like not vote out Sam, but it's like, if Sam and Andy are pretty close,
right? We
should probably cut that. Otherwise, yeah, you'll have all of that. Yeah, no, I thought it was fine by Anika. Much better than it was in the preview when it seemed like she was calling them out. I'm like, well, what are you doing? But
right.
Previews are misleading because I think the way she handled that. One thing I noticed in kind of the Anika versus Sam like bickering feud that we got, well, two things. One, like nobody was in the right. And two, they both annoy me. Everybody on this tribe, well, not everybody, everybody but Rachel on this tribe annoys me. And I think it's mostly just because they're young.
I mean, that's fair. I'm
in a way, like I feel like I haven't been like that. And obviously every year I get older. So there's that, right? And I could have just hit some threshold. But like when we were watching Millennials versus Gen X, I was, even though I am firmly Gen X, although actually more, like I am Gen X, but I'm more, a tweener. But I'm old, is what I was getting at. It was like, man, that millennial tribe seems a lot more fun than the Gen X tribe, and they're torn up. But now, I don't know. It's like they were both right. Like I think what it all boiled down to was Anika was more tired than she was hungry, and Sam was more hungry than he was tired.
Yeah, I'm not as annoyed by Anika as you are. I'm still finding Anika generally entertaining. I don't think we have a star in this cast, but at the very least, I do enjoy when Anika's on my screen somewhat. So that's about the highest praise as I can give to any player thus far. But not only that, like, let's putting aside strategy. We did have an Anika and Sam moment where Anika just starts quizzing Sam on shit that he hasn't eaten. Which you're on an island. There's nothing else to do. Like I think Anika's like braiding hair or something at the time while she's asking him, because what the fuck else are they going to do? And yet this became their game. It's like the Taylor Swift song game last season. this season the game is, what things have you not eaten? Were you did something jump out at you as like surprising that Sam had never had?
Yeah, so it started with pineapple. I was like, that's kind of weird. And then it went to watermelon. I'm like, what the fuck?
So
we give that to babies.
yeah. I mean, in fairness, if he had it as a baby, one wouldn't expect him to recall that. So
No, but I'm saying like you kind of keep going. Like it is bring it to soccer games. Like it is watermelon. That like there was a lot there, like really, but watermelon, like you haven't had watermelon? It's just colored water made semi-solid.
To jump to this man's defense, which I really want to do because I'm a huge Sam fan, I don't think I actually like ate watermelon, and I still don't really intentionally, like occasionally I will, but like until I hit like 30, like, and Sam's
he's
not
got
there.
6 years, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, Sam can, I just don't know. Like, it didn't appeal to me. It didn't look appetizing. It's kind of mushy. I don't know. I was just like, oh, doesn't seem fun.
You're blowing my mind here.
But I'm saying eventually.
It's like a fruit for children.
Right. And
even picky children, you can get them to eat watermelon as long as you cut it up for them. And then, like when I was a kid, you spit it at people, because we didn't do seedless back in my old age. Yeah, man. Look, the whole conversation, or it wasn't a conversation. It was mostly a needling of him. And I feel like one of them, maybe it was Rachel, like she was getting a little fancy with we let off with the man not eating watermelon, and now you're like, what about broccolini? It's like
the heirloom tomato thing. Like,
yeah, like settle down here. I don't know if I've had an heirloom. I'm pretty sure I have, but like it wasn't. Yeah, was it a tomato? Was it on a thing? Sure, okay, cool. But like, it kind of made me think that like my initial instinct, whenever I hear like an adult talking about a picky eater, is grow the fuck up. Like that is always just my initial reaction. And then I like, okay, first off, you have to be sensitive to like medical things, both allergies and other things like digestive issues. There's that. And then obviously like some people have, like disorders, and you got to be sensitive to that. And then you should also be sensitive to like some lack of like there's cultural and like economic things of why people haven't tried certain foods. But it was still like, especially because the subject matter was fruits and vegetables, it was like, you're a child.
You know what's fun?
And I guess he kind of is. So, and like when I was 24, I certainly hadn't tried as many foods as I have now, because like you're poor, so that, for one, better food costs more, and for two, if you only got like $5 to eat something, you're not going to be too adventurous with it. But still, it was kind of like, you got to eat some vegetables, man.
Yeah. What I found fun about that is you gave like the Twitter preamble thing where you're like, okay,
absolutely,
I have to figure out who, like, just before I make this next statement, I do not mean this. I don't want to offend this group. I don't want to offend, like, I understand. Yeah. Well,
that's my first initial reaction is like to roll my eyes and like, come on. But then I like, okay, and then I remember my modern training of like people have genuine issues. But like I know like on our Slack, people they sometimes send out like foods you've tried, and then it'll tell you, or like things you're grossed out by. And I'm like, I've tried most foods. I'm grossed out by like food that has been mishandled, or like that is garbage, like that sort of thing. But otherwise, if it is edible, I'm not generally grossed out by food.
Yeah, there's certain textures that I'm not into, but like, so
there's certain things that I don't want to eat, like I've tried and I won't eat. But in terms of like, just the idea of it, it's like, it's food.
Well, so again, I was meekly coming to Sam's defense here. Like, I was that same way once upon a time too. Like, I didn't want to try shit either, for some of the reasons that you already mentioned. So I can only say, to those in that same situation, my personal experience at least suggests it's very worth trying new things. So
Yeah, and again, like he's 24 years old. This man is a
Right.
baby. And again, at that point, I probably was. I certainly wasn't eating a whole ton of vegetables. Like if I was living on my own there, I don't know if I was at that point. I might have been engaged, like he is. But yeah, and it just became another thing about this Gata tribe is just too young for me, man. So I think that's another reason why I was happy that Saul wasn't the vote out. I kind of just like the grown up energy he's bringing to this season because I think he's it.
He needs some old.
Obviously, Sue is older, but I don't like her energy at all. But just like the way he's dealing with like Rome and all of that, it's just kind of like it's nice to have a grown up in the room.
You need that dad energy. That's what
I don't even care if it's dad. Just more like I've seen things. I have a mortgage or whatever. Just
he's
could
got
tell,
big mortgage energy.
Yeah, or just like this home is full of shit, but I'm not like really bothered by it because I see him as a clown. That energy.
Yeah, you really want to watch someone that is concerned about their 401k. That's what you're looking for. Hey, in honor of what we witnessed and what we just discussed, I'm just going to throw this out there. How about we do top 3 fruits and or vegetables that we have still never eaten in our ancient decaying ages that we're in right now?
Yeah, and I suppose what does the 3 mean? I guess we didn't talk about, but like these would be popular. Like, what are the most significant ones we've never eaten?
Right. Yeah, you don't want to go too deep into the like stuff that you wouldn't find at any normal grocery store. Although, to some degree, I had to do that because again, much like you,
I had to
like
go a little deeper.
Right. I try stuff, so there's not a lot that I haven't tried.
And like I avoided things that are like not really available in North America. I mean, obviously, like the globe is shrunk, and if you go to certain places, I'm sure I could find it. But like I look at the list, and it's like the number 2 crop in the world is something called, I'm guessing, cassava or something like that. I've never heard of it before. I've never had that, but I feel like that's not on my list because it's like it's not really a North American crop.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be very North American centric. We're so alienating. It's going to be great. Take that, Australians that I know listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I think that's the number 3 country.
Probably. Okay, so I just want to clarify. I'm going to go first. I feel like this is big enough. And the problem is this might be kind of like localized. I don't know. But jackfruit is like the go-to meat substitute at vegetarian food trucks lately. And I don't know that that's like a national or thus international, if you're aware of it, thing. But like jackfruit is having like a big moment in the vegetarian scene right now. So I have not tried it. I've seen them. They're fucking huge.
Yeah.
There's actually a tree in my neighborhood that's very small and unassuming. And then this thing has these massive jackfruit. Those things look like they probably weigh 25 pounds. They're like the size of 2 bowling balls, and they're hanging on this tiny little tree.
Yeah. I think I have tried jackfruit because my son saw it at like the farmer's market and just begged us to get it, largely because of its hugeness, right?
Yeah,
How
it's just
big
weird
it was,
looking.
And the shape. So I know we bought one. And I know it sat there for a while when we tried to figure out how to prepare it. I'm not 100% sure we ever actually got to eating it, though.
Yeah.
But I have spent money on a jackfruit.
Great.
So there we go. My number 3, this is largely, I think it's just not from where I am from. It's not, I don't think it's around these parts, but I've been to other parts and I'm going to throw it out there. Black-eyed peas.
Oh.
I've never seen them in real life, but obviously I've heard of them first from the Chick song, Goodbye Earl, and then later, Let's Get It Started. The band that started out as like this conscious like backpack rapper group and then not became that very quickly with their second album.
I remember when they first came out, I'm like, wow, is this like going to be like the new sort of Tribe Called Quest vein? No. The answer was
they went the other way.
They did not. They sold out, and good for them. They did it well.
But yeah, like, and again, I don't know that I've ever been anywhere where it's been served, but I also don't know, like, if it like was the side dish on a plate, I would definitely eat that because sure, let's try it. Then I can scratch it off the list. But if it was like at a buffet, I wouldn't be scooping it up. They look weird.
Right.
But I don't know. Have you ever had? I feel like it's like a southern.
It
I'm sure
is,
it's
and
like-
I have also not had that, although it did not make my list.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2, again, this one I feel like is one of the more common ones that I could have thought of. Beets.
Really?
I'm very aware of their existence. I have maybe like had beets as part, like in like a smoothie something type thing before. I don't know,
that.
but I don't know that I've ever seen them in a grocery store or purchased them for anything. And I do cook. And so just beets, a thing that I have never consciously made an effort to eat.
I eat beets fairly frequently. I'm going to tell you right now. I recommend it. You should cross that barrier.
Okay.
Like they're good at like Thanksgiving type meals.
Oh, and see, that's probably
Oh,
why.
you don't really. Yeah, maybe you don't do that as much.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, not to go too much into it, but if you saw the food that my bland ass white family made at Thanksgiving growing up, you'd be like, nah, I don't want to try anything here. I'm good.
I feel like beets would fit in,
They
but
do.
it would change the color palette a bit. Like add something other than beige to the plate.
Right.
Yeah, man. I like a good beet. A beet salad. That's a good. Get some like goat cheese in there with it. That's a good mix. So.
Okay.
Recommended.
All right, what's your number 2?
Similar. I might have had this as part of a smoothie, but I don't know if I did. Like if it was just part of like a mix. I've never eaten a pomegranate before.
Oh, see, I have.
How
Also-
do you eat a pomegranate?
Yeah,
like, you don't
they're
eat it
weird.
like an apple, right? Like
No.
and they're not sliced. Like you don't cut it into slices, but maybe bits. Or is it like you got to dig it out with a spoon? Is that?
You kind of like
And which
eat
part is it? Like it seems like they has all those bubbles.
the
Or
seeds. Yeah. And the other thing is like I use pomegranate juice when I make certain cocktails and stuff. So like I'm very familiar with
and
the
I
flavor.
Don't have that.
And you exactly. I was going to say like you do not share a penchant for cocktails. So yeah. I mean, I was going to say like do I recommend them? They're fine. I mean,
It's not like a sweet taste, is it? I don't know. Is it?
it's yeah. I mean, it's
Is it? Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
many fruits are. Yeah.
exactly.
Honestly, I feel like the texture and shape like confounds me. Like, how do I eat this? What am I to be? What's
Yeah.
the technique here?
Yeah, they are very odd. But there's a little tartness to it that it yeah, I mean, I'd say give it a shot. Don't go out of your way. They're fine. All right, number 1. So again, I don't know, is this cheating? So nectarines, because
Really?
yeah. So I've seen them at Trader Joe's and like I've had a peach, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, those look like peaches, but not hairy. They're like,
Fuzz.
right. Like they're the dolphin to the peach's bear. Like they're just the unfurry peach. And I'm like, no, okay, I get it. Peaches are okay. I don't ever crave a peach. And thus, because of the association, I have never tried the nectarine because I'm like, yeah, I assume it's basically the same shit.
Yeah, I'd say the taste is a little inferior to the peach, but a nectarine is easier to eat without like cutting it up. Right? Like a peach you want to cut into slices so that you're like not initially exposed to the fuzz.
Yeah.
Whereas nectarine you don't have to deal with that. You can just bite right into it like a plum.
Yeah. What about the pit situation?
Same deal, you could work around it.
Yeah,
you know?
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 1 then?
This is actually something like I've had plenty of opportunities to eat, and like I just look at it like I'm good, thanks. So, like frankly, that's the only one. Pomegranate, I don't know if I've ever had it in front of me. Black-eyed peas, I've never really seen. Okra was another one I thought of. It kind of falls in the same category as black-eyed peas. I think it's a regional food.
Yep.
That I'm not part of that region. I I went with olives with pimentos. It's not quite
Ooh.
olives. Olives I've had, I don't really like, but they're fine.
Right.
But like specifically the ones that have the pimentos in it. So this green little thing with the reds, and I've seen those my whole life. You know, they're on the charcuterie boards or whatever, and just like I'm good. That this is the fruit and vegetable that I have consistently turned down in my life.
So I do not eat them as like a thing. However, if they were like
part of your drink,
no, not a martini guy. But if they were like cut up, diced, and put into like an empanada or something like that, like the flavor of that mixed with other flavors is good. But I'm not eating that on its own.
Yeah, like olives I've had is like on a flatbread, a pizza type thing.
Sure.
But I don't feel like they had the pimentos as part of it.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like, hey, let's just start housing these things. No, I don't know what it tastes like, and I'm good not to find out.
I do like a pimento. Like if you're gonna do the olive with a pimento is the way to go, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like that's how deep I had to get, because I look at the list of most popular vegetables in North America, and I'm like, yeah, man, I've tried most of those things. And that's I guess all the privilege, again, get back to the Twitter, having to couch all my statements.
Sure.
But just like for me, yeah, I'll try it. Do I like all vegetables? Fuck no. A lot of them I don't like. A lot of times when it comes to vegetables, it's all about how you prepare it, right? You take, this bitter ass dry thing, and then you coat it with enough sauces, and then suddenly it's, pretty good or fine.
Exactly.
Right? Cauliflower can be a very adaptable dish as long as you know how to use sauces and spices.
Brussels sprouts still hot right now.
Oh, Brussels sprouts, yeah.
There you go.
What you do is you take the Brussels sprouts and put enough stuff on it so it no longer approaches healthiness.
That's right.
They're fine. Yeah,
and that's when they're delicious.
But yeah, I chose this list because I want to out all you freaks. Come on, give it to me. Like I heard of this guy that's never had a nectarine. Just the things that you've never eaten, so that we all can be like, so I can be like, grow up. And then no, I should be more sensitive. Like that'll be in my head, but I won't put it in comments. I won't reply that unless you're like, I've never tried a banana, a carrot. Then I might be like, you're gonna get scurvy.
Right. Yeah, and of course, put those in their comments on purplerockpodcast.com, on our podcast post. If you are not a commenter there, first of all, why not? Secondly, you could text us. There's like a link on this post and you can text us. Now, that's only going to go to us. We can't reply to you in any way, but I am interested in what you had to say. So, send us stuff. Like, for instance, we got one last week. Probably my favorite one from last week was the boat guy who reminded me that not all boat guys have terrible political takes. So very true. I appreciate you speaking up.
Some people just want to drink on the open water.
Yeah. Hashtag not all boat guys. So, good for you for being a non-terrible boat guy. And I didn't mean you specifically. I mean other boat guys that aren't you.
And we got like 3 different responses to last week's list of the basketball hip hop crossover. So that was kind of cool because we got no responses to Hank Williams. So I biffed that over under completely. Maybe if I had done songs, like I thought we had enough olds that people could be in there, but I'm happy. I'm pretty proud that we have cultivated an audience where we can get like 5 or so like hip hop NBA crossover comments and none country music ones. So that's solid work by all of you. I thank you. My favorite was one that said, I'd never responded to your podcast, but I listen every week and I had to shout out my favorite basketball times hip hop crossover. That's probably X, whatever. Not NBA. Sorry, I'm cheating. But Drake played the basketball star Jimmy on Degrassi, who then got paralyzed. Spoilers. And was like, well, shit. Then he got fired from the show for starting a rap career without the network's permission, which just bang up job, CBC. You certainly wouldn't want that kind of attention on your show. Yeah, honestly, definitely. I'm just assuming that that generation of Degrassi was on CBC. I might be wrong on that one. Here's the thing. I've never watched Degrassi. I mean, never is a strong word. When I was a kid, there was like 4 channels, so it was probably playing on the room I was in at one point. But not the Drake version of it.
No, I watched the American version, also known as Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, that I watched.
Oh, well, see, our cultural export got to, and I'm so proud.
I don't want to wait for this life to be over.
I want to know right now. Hey, one more technological thing that happened this week that I feel like I need to address. Google has a new thing, and it probably has a very useful purpose that I'm not remotely interested in.
There's no way that's true.
I probably not. I don't know. I'm just trying to like butter them up and thank them for this stupid shit that entertained me. So, this new device that hastens global warming, you can make it do stupid things to make you laugh. And one of those stupid things is...
We should mention, like, it's an AI.
It is. And so what you can do is you can upload, for instance, our podcast, and then it will, like, summarize it for you. But more importantly, one of the ways it can summarize it for you is by creating a 2-person podcast. So I had it make a podcast about our podcast, and then I shared that in our Slack group, and it was very funny. I'm going to have to put it on our site somewhere so people can listen to this.
I'll put it on the show notes for this episode.
Well, and then also, maybe I'll do this week's, and then I can put that one in there too. So if you listen to this episode, then you can see what did the Google AI think that we talked about this week. It did, as we referenced earlier, not to spoil anything, but it did call Andy the analytical one, which was very funny.
The bots love me.
They do.
Not only that, like when it was talking about our top 3 list of last week, just completely ignored yours.
It did.
Mine.
Yeah.
To be fair to it probably like broke when it was trying to like, who the fuck is Tyler Harrow? It honestly couldn't handle Fushnikins, as it believed that Shaq had done a rap duo, apparently with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
No, it was hilarious. It was amazing. A couple things. First off, like listening to it, it really does like approximate like the cadence and rhythms of like either like podcasts, or I also was getting like heavy like a morning drive radio DJ vibes from it. You know, just that faux joviality type thing.
Jovial.
But no, that's a better way of saying it. We'll see how the next AI handles what I just said.
Okay.
But like when you really get into listening to it, there's nothing there, right? Like there's no content other than what they're regurgitating. And to be fair, that's what the model is built to do, right? We fed it, that, and then it regurgitates it out. But it's just so empty. And then another thing that's funny, like it's very repetitive. It does the trick of just like repeating the last thing that the person before it said to like create the vibe that they're having in conversation. And my wife was listening to it and she just kept getting so annoyed with that. I found it hilarious. There was one point where it felt like they were going to be stuck in an infinite loop.
They say the same thing like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And everyone's like, she's so annoying. I'm like, well, she, like, it's not a she, right? Like this, there's actually, it sounds like a woman, but there's no woman involved in this, making up this. I mean, maybe in the coding, but let's be real. No, that sounded more sexist than I meant. I meant,
I was going to say,
dudes waste their lives on this stuff. Women are certainly capable of coding this bullshit. If you missed last week's episode, we have a 15-minute summary you can listen to.
Basically, you'll get the gist at least.
So that'll be there. And otherwise, come to our website, purpleeyepodcast.com, and yada, yada, yada. Anything else?
Let's hit the slightly new theme music.
This is the copyright-free outro to another niche Survivor podcast.